Alright, so it's almost 10 o'clock. I'll get started in a minute or so. Just want to make sure that my little program here is working. Make sure I've got chat up. And I think we are live. Let me just double check that on my phone. And looks good. I'll turn that off. All right. Sorry, it's a little earlier than usual. Normally I do my streams at 3 p.m. but this time I'm going to try it at 10 a.m. Beam ATX. And well, it looks like my internet died. Oh, it's back. Odd. Hopefully this is not going to be one of those crappy internet days, but it might be, so fingers crossed. Well, like I was saying, so this is a continuation of the prior stream where I am taking maker beams and creating another PC case for it. And so for this particular build, we've got ATX Motherboard, a full-size GPU, and full-size ATX Power Supply. And for this one, you do have the option for running a small air cooler. You can't really see it in here. Maybe this way. Yeah. So there's a small little air cooler in there. Or you can run it with a 120mm AIO. And later on I'll show you another option for cooling that might be better for some. So we'll see. And on another note, with the size that we have inside here, theoretically it should be able to fit an RTX 5090. Alright, so in the previous build, or sorry, the previous stream, we put the case together, or the chassis, and basically it's a bunch of 3D printed parts. You can see here there's the motherboard backplane, and I printed all of these out on the Cheetah X Max 3, and the previous filament I was using was PETG with carbon fiber. The new filament I'm using today, which I'm kind of on the fence with, it's ABS with glass fiber instead of carbon fiber, and it is a nice filament. Actually, as an example, if you've followed my other channel, this is a case I designed using the filament. It's got a really interesting color to it, so it's not like a white. They call it natural. I had the link in the description. I think you can still buy it on Amazon. I'm not quite sure. I haven't checked the link in a while, but it is a nice filament in terms of looks because it has this really like cream color to it. However, because it is ABS, it's pretty toxic. My printer here it is fully enclosed and it has a carbon activated filter inside it. But even then, you can still smell the plastic and the fumes coming off of the ABS. And so it is advisable to print this in a room that's well ventilated. Now, I'm inside my garage at the moment, and so ventilation is as good as me opening the door. And that's what I had to do. And right now it's actually quite cold, so printing it is not the most fun because you do need an enclosed printer because any drafts you have can cause issues. And at the same time too, like this printer I have has a heated chamber, so it actually makes the printing process pretty nice. And so that helps it. But it's just strange you have to do all those things to make the print work. And coupled with the fact that the fumes from ABS is so awful for you, it's kind of hard to recommend printing out with ABS. Even though the ABS glass fiber filament works really well. And Adam wrote, ahoy matey, how's it going, Adam? Thanks for joining today. And actually, as an example of like how hard it is to print, so obviously, I'll say it right now, like printing something this big and this flat with ABS is just a poor decision in general. And so I can't blame the filament altogether, because it is known that the material does shrink. It is known that the material does warp. And so for me to want to print something this large, this is a 325 by 325. This is the maximum size that my printer will allow. And my mistake, I ended up, I think I opened the door slightly just to check on something, and this corner was at the door, and look what happened to it. It's actually hard to see, maybe I'll zoom in. But it actually warped. And that's just me literally opening the door. And so if you can imagine, if you don't have an enclosed printer, like, who knows what would happen. Like this, like the idea of this being semi-flat, like this is not perfectly flat. Like it's hard to tell on camera, but there is warpage to it. And believe it or not, when it was printing, totally fine. When it stopped printing though, that's when stuff went bad. Like basically the heated chamber turned off, the build plate started to cool down, and it just started warping like crazy. Luckily for this one, there is still some like warp overall, but luckily the corners didn't lift. Well, they lifted a little bit in the print, but not enough to make it so apparent in the final print. But anyways, long story short, printed out in ABS glass fiber. I think the color looks great. It's going to look great for what we're doing today. However, I don't know if I would recommend if you would want to print it out with this material. And obviously with the size of this print too, it is kind of limiting to a lot of people. But anyways, let's get started with this. So I do need to install the panels. So we've got a front panel, 2 side panels, and then we also have a front bezel. Now the previous size for the case with just the chassis was around like 17.4 liters. But with the addition of the panels, they are thicker. Obviously, this isn't metal, so you can't have like a millimeter thick panel. And then the bezel I made a little thicker, so it's now like literally sitting right at 20 liters. So it's, the actual number is like 19.89. So we'll just call it 20 liters. But yeah, let's see. Adam wrote, one idea I was thinking about when doing a printed case build, to cover those large side panels, printed clips which let you lock in a sheet of fabric, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, if you follow my channel, like if you look at that one video called the cutest 3D printed case, it does actually use cloth. It doesn't use like clips to bring in the actual cloth inside the print, but it does lock it in a sense. So but yeah, I could definitely like make some sort of like clip to have those in. I was going to actually have like a locking mechanism, kind of similar to like if you've ever done any like embroidery, like they have like those little like circle things that you use, and it kind of locks the fabric in. That was the initial plan for that case. Actually, like if you don't mind waiting like 3 seconds, maybe I can go grab it. Give me a second. No, I lied. It's it's way too far into my garage, and my garage is an absolute mess, so we're not going to do that. But yeah, I think so. The fabric, if you check out my channel, there's a video that I have like a little tiny case that's orange and like gray and white, and it does use fabric. That's not going to be the last fabric project I actually have. I was supposed to have a follow-up for that project, but I just obviously it's like one of those things that I never got to again. But I will get to it eventually, because I have like a huge roll of the fabric I bought for that, and so it's not the end of that thing. Adam wrote, oh, and then Adam wrote, okay, well, you already thought of that. Well, yeah. And then Adam wrote, like a cam lock. Yeah, I think it would be really fun to have like not even just a clip, but like an actual like thing that we can just kind of like rotate something to kind of lock it in place. That'd be really fun. But anyways, thank you for sharing that. Let's get to this. So basically, because in the previous build, all I did was install the T-nuts just for the chassis build itself. I didn't install any for the panels, because I wasn't even quite sure like what kind of panel I was going to put on. And so now that we have the panels printed out, and obviously this you're all seeing this in real time. Obviously, like there's these are fresh off the printer. There's no processing needed for any of these. Maybe I can like scrape off some stuff because I noticed that it's hard to see. Give me a second, but you can even see some of the layers that ended up getting stuck to my print bed. But let me see if I can zoom in on this for y'all. But there's a little like it's hard to see, but there's a little black mark right over here, and basically it was like stuck on filament that was from a previous print that I could not get out. And if you watch any of my shorts, basically I had one of my prints kind of fail. Actually, it was this one right here. Like I could reprint it, but I'm not going to because I'm really tired of not having access to my garage when I'm printing. But you can see how many layers I lost. Like, I mean, obviously you won't see it because this is going to be the top that we're going to be looking at. But I lost a lot of layers here because the print stuck crazy strong to the bed, and then because of all the warping, the adhesion between the bed and the filament was stronger than the adhesion between the layers of the filament itself, and it ended up actually breaking the layers, and the print bed had a bunch of filament stuck to it. And I was able to get it off by basically printing like a small sheet over it, and then it like melted together, and I was able to peel it off. But anyway, so we need to install these panels here, so let's go ahead and get started on that. So what I need to do is, all I'm going to do is remove this top rail here because I need to install 2 T-nuts on this side, and then opposite of that I need to install another 2 more, and then I need to install so 2 per rail here, and then I need to install 2 per rail here. And right now I'm just guessing I only need 4 per panel, but we might find out that I actually might need like 6 because right now the mounting points are all on the corners, and so we might find out later on that it might be bowing or something. So we'll find out together if this is a win, fail, or not. And yeah, let's get started on this. So basically I'm now going to start removing the top rail. And I think I can just keep this AIO cooler on during all of this. And that way it's just like less screwing I have to do and less screwing you all have to watch. Oh, and also I'm going to be removing the feet that I put on there. I think the feet weren't really made for this case. I think I just had the files already on the printer and I knew that it would work, and so I just threw them on. I ended up printing out new feet for it, but luckily there's already T-slots already inside there, so I don't have to install anymore. And if you're new here, let me know if this time frame works for you, because this is the first time this stream has been this early. Normally I actually stream at around like 3 o'clock my time, so that's PST. And what's nice about that is I can wake up in the morning and actually get some prints done. But this time around, I basically had to plan out my day like the day prior. And I actually did do some prints this morning, but luckily they were like tiny. But if I had to do, like, for instance, like this bezel takes like 5 hours, so that would not have been fun. Luckily this panel is like an hour long. These are like 2 hours long. And what's nice, because they're all meshed, it actually these don't take up too much filament. Like, I think this is only like 70 grams. This entire thing I think was only like 120 or something like that. What did take up some filament was the front bezel that I made is I think it was like 260. So, but overall though, the panels are less than like half a roll of filament. But again, I say all that, and it is a large print, so I'm not sure how, like, if everyone can actually have access to that. And then Fondin, hey. And then yeah, Adam says hi to Fondin too. Good to see you again. I recognize that name. I'm terrible. By the way, I mean, if you watch my streams and I forget your name, but like, I do apologize. I'm terrible with names. So, but I do recognize Fondin. I remember saying it. So, yeah, good to have you back. And let's see now. So we've got, okay. So now we have to put in. Let's see. We've got my T-nuts here. So again, this is using the MakerBeam system, and we are going to be using these T-nuts. And I think if you look in the description, I have links to most of the parts that are needed for this particular build. All right, so we got 1 and 2. And these are going to be for the side panel. So 1 and 2. And then, I mean, I don't think you need to see me do this, but I'll turn it around for y'all. Okay, so we've got 1 and 2. All right, and so now I also need to put 4, so 2 on each rail for the top panel. You know, I thought I ran out of these T-nuts because I still have my micro ATX FreeBeam built, like fully assembled. So there's T-nuts, like there's a lot of T-nuts in there, but I remember that I was using these T-nuts in my other printer where I created my own like custom spool holder for that. So luckily I had some more. I could have just taken down the micro ATX build, but maybe I'm lazy, I don't know. And then Fondant wrote, "It's all good. It's an odd name, so it stands out." It's always good to have an odd name, because you're easy to remember. But is that your actual real name, Fondant, or is that just like a username you decided to choose? Because obviously Adam's like a real name. All right, so we've got 4 for the top panel. Okay, so I think that's it for those rails. So now I do need to install. Hold on 1 second. Oh, it totally broke my. Well, I didn't announce it, but my last stream I had a goal to not lose any of my screws on the ground, and I already lost a screw on the ground. Okay, what was that? Hold on. Okay, so that's man. Oh man, I wish I didn't lose that one, because that one was pretty important. Man, that is okay. So we lost one. Luckily, we need. Well, we're not using black. Okay, I think we're good. We're good. It just sucks that we lost it. Hold on a second. Let me grab my tweezers to get these screws out. Actually, I don't even think I need to get it out. So I'm gonna need to take apart this rail here, because I do need to grab I need to put in some T-nuts inside it, and I think the best course of action would be to remove the top and bottom. Okay, let's do that. And it's using that type of screw, okay? Adam wrote, I asked, like, is that your real name for Adam? And Adam wrote, some people believe it was the very first name. That's true. That is very true. You know, I do know a lot of Adams, but it's so hard to like actually like meet someone named Eve, right? So, but that's a really funny comment, Adam. I like that. Okay, so we got one rail in, and I'm just gonna close it up right away, because knowing me, I'm probably gonna like lose another screw. I really hope it wasn't a black screw I lost, because those are the ones that are like kind of premium at the moment for my little toolkit. I don't really have too many of those. Fondian wrote, nope, I used to play EverQuest. I was a cleric, and the auto name generator ruled Fondian, as in Fundai. That's pretty awesome, though. PCs to play EverQuest, and so I know that it was a very important part of their lives. So I'm curious, like, what has taken over Fondian, now that EverQuest is like, you know, maybe not at its peak anymore. But I'm also saying that assuming that EverQuest is dead. Maybe for all I know, EverQuest is still probably like full steam. So much I know, I guess. Okay, I'm just tightening these up. And now I'm going to move on to the top section. And I'll be doing the exact same thing where I'm taking out the screws for the panel so that I can get access to the rail. And then Fondian wrote, nowadays it's survival games when I get to play. Nice. Survival like in like Rust. I don't play Rust. I think I own Rust. I think at one point I did play with my friends for like a little bit. But I don't know why I didn't keep up with it. All I ever did was like, I'm really good at drawing sometimes. And so I would like, I used to decorate the base with a bunch of like phallic things. My friends appreciated it, I think, but the mods did not. So we actually got banned from a few servers because of it. Okay, hopefully I'm doing this right. I think I am. But actually, so see, Fondian wrote, can I just call you Fun Dying? That's way more fun. No, it's not. All right, so Fondian wrote Green Hell, Valum, Sons of the Forest. Oh, okay, and things like that, and Lego Fortnite. I play a lot of games, but I mean, I don't know why. Like the only game I've been playing lately is just Apex Legends, and I'm like a complete trash at it too. I don't know why. I think it's just like it's like gambling, right? Like when people like do like the little I forgot what it's called, the little lever thing you pull and the little thing spins, but like there's only so many outcomes you can have, but it's just like it is just like an addiction, maybe. I don't know. I should start playing other games. I did buy the new Metro game with the intent of playing it with VR, but I haven't gotten around to it. I should. I think mainly the main issue I have right now not playing is the fact that like my garage is an absolute sty, and I actually can't really like play VR in here right now. That's a me problem. All right, so we've got the T-nuts in, and now we're going to close it back up because I think I have what I need to put on the panels. And yeah, let's see how this goes. All right, so going to be screwing this in here. Let's see, Fondin wrote, I almost got banned from EverQuest because I was in the sleeper raid that almost crashed the server. Wait, I mean, I don't think, like, what was the problem with you being in a sleeper raid? Okay, so it's not Fondian, so Fondian. Okay, Fondian is the correct pronunciation. Okay, my bad for getting it wrong. But what I don't understand. So like, it was a sleeper raid. What does that mean? Like, why would they want to ban that? Were you guys just like trolling everyone, or like I watch like some YouTubers who play like Rust, and then like one of their things is just like raiding people while they're away. Is that kind of like what you guys did? But how does that crash the server though? All right, you know what? Give me like 1 minute. I'm gonna see if I can find the stupid screw. But in the meantime, while I'm trying to find the screw that I dropped, I'm gonna have you look at the leg lamp. The leg lamp is like the please stand by image. All right, there you go. I'll be right back. I'm gonna be like down here. I'm just gonna like give myself 30 seconds to look for this darn screw because I don't think I have enough to make this case work without it. I'd have to take apart the micro ATX build, I think. I don't want to do that. Where is the screw? Man, I should just get like a magnetic mat down here, like that just like captures whatever I drop. But anyway, I think all right. In case I need one, I'll just go ahead and take apart the micro ATX build because now I have to use up a screw that I think I'll likely need in just a few moments. Just because I lost one. Alright, so Fun Dian wrote, the sleeper mob is a mob and it was supposed to be unkillable. It was tied to the entire story. If we had actually managed to kill it, the server would have crashed. Oh, I see. Oh, like the game, like the game itself would crash like forever. Like that's kind of weird that they would implement that though. Okay, so it was like a final boss. I see. That's hilarious. So you guys were like deathly intent on like trying to kill this thing in order to kill the game. That's pretty funny. Okay, so while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and take off the feet that I installed before so that we can install the new feet that I printed out. I think this feet here that I have was made for the little case that I showed with the built-in screen. And they don't look as cool as what hopefully, well, I think the other one looks cooler, so let's find out. So the previous feet are these ones here. Let me zoom in for y'all. Alright, so the previous feet are these ones here. And the new ones are these like light gray pieces here. Now I'm looking at it in the light. This is kind of a terrible print. It's like ghosting. Yeah, you know, it's really funny. Like, I feel like my prints with carbon fiber PETG have been pretty awesome, but whenever I go back to like normal PETG, I seem to have a lot of problems with it. But that's the me issue. All right, so let's go ahead and take out the screws that are in here and place them inside the new feet. And let me just get that there. And I think they're situated like so. Did I have it covering the... I think I did. Okay, so let's do that. I think I had it all the way up to the... Here I am trying to screw something in. There's nothing even there to screw into. Goober. Okay. That was kind of difficult. Maybe I'll have to do it on its like upside down. Maybe I'll do it upside down actually. Here I'm like fighting gravity. I don't really need to. So let's go ahead and put that there. All right, so now we can have better access to it. But I'm assuming you guys never actually crashed it, so like that's a good thing, right? Oh, this screw looks like it's too long. Let's find out. Yeah, that's just too long of a screw. Okay, so Fondian wrote, over 300 of us spent over 12 hours beating on it. None of us knew it would have crashed the game. So you guys didn't even know it was going to crash the game. You just wanted to like defeat the thing essentially. All right, and then wait a minute. Do I not have? Maybe I designed this bad and I don't have a screw for it. But I guess we'll find out. Adam wrote, that is totally insane. So Adam wrote prior to that, he wrote, regular PET just bad. I gave up on it. For temp resistant filaments, I'm going to try bamboo PET carbon fiber. Yeah, when I reviewed this particular printer for Cheedy, they sent me some PET carbon fiber as well, and that stuff is awesome. I just can't afford it. It is like, I think double. Wait, what is going on here? Why are you not tightening? I think it's like double what I would pay for my normal PETG, so it's just not in my budget. Maybe if I grab like a filament sponsor, I'll start using it again, but for now, like, it is just not in my grasp. Adam wrote, that is totally insane. Back in Vanilla WoW days, we had a 200-ish person world PvP in Barrens. 300 people is crazy. That is actually crazy, especially when you think about, like, EverQuest was, like, in the 90s, right? Nowadays, like, Apex Legends has, like, 60 people on it. It sometimes crashes all the time. I mean, it even crashes, like, during their actual pro leagues, so... But that's just like, I think EA being whatever. Alright, so we got 2 feet on. Now we're going to install the other feet. the GM's despawned it. I'm assuming that's like a despawned like a monster or something. And then Adam wrote, "Yep, it's $85 per kilogram." Yeah, it is not cheap. Great stuff though, but I guess for me, like the if you haven't tried if you haven't tried PETG with carbon fiber, totally different animal. So if you're like me having problems with like vanilla PETG, give the carbon fiber stuff a try. You will be very surprised, I think. And it's way cheaper. Like I found like some filaments for like less than $20 that have performed really well. But I've also bought some versions that were really more expensive and they did not perform very well. So I guess it's like luck of the draw. And obviously if you buy from Bamboo directly, they're going to have way better quality control. So maybe it's worth it for that. But I think Bamboo also has a PETG carbon fiber. I'd have to double check, but I swear that I've seen it there because I was going to buy a roll and then I remembered I was not that rich. Alright, so I'm still trying to install these feet here. These little M3s are just tiny. But we're almost done with the feet. And hopefully the other parts will be faster. Alright, so we've got new feet on. Personally, I think they look better. Might be hard to see on camera. But yeah, I think they look better than these little tiny ones here. Do you see that? Right down here. Then we got some new bolder feet. Alright, so Adam wrote, "Oh yeah, no kidding. PETG carbon fiber from Bamboo is only $30 per kilogram. Nice. New feet are much better." Yeah, I agree. Okay, so before I install everything, I think the main thing I have to install first is this top panel. And just to explain a few things, so basically this is the top panel. Printed out in a mesh, obviously, so no top layer, no bottom layer. And I did increase the fill to 20%. It was, I think my stock profile was like 15 with grid, and this is rectilinear, I believe. But I also think, I'm wondering if the rectilinear is also what caused the weakness in my layers, because I know that for this particular layer, it does like the parallel lines all at once, and then it puts over another line. So essentially you have the point of contact for your filament is like staggered like this. And so if you can imagine, the only point of contact is that little tiny part. And I think that's why the bed adhesion overcame the adhesion between the layers. Because obviously I think when you print it with ABS, there's already kind of like a danger of having weak layers to begin with, just because of the way it contracts and shrinks while it's printing. And I think the very small contact point we have with this like grid, it didn't help it, and I think that's why we did have this delamination that happened. I'm just really glad that it's not on the part that we see. All right, so now I'm only gonna install this temporarily for now. I just need to have it as a reference point. So let me go ahead and install it. So let's see, I think it's gonna be these screws that I use, but I could be wrong. And again, the screws I'm using, thankfully, are in the description. Normally when I do my screws, I have like, I think I've showed this in my other streams too, but I have like this like huge pack of like assorted screws, and so sometimes when people ask me what screws to buy, like I just don't know what to tell them, because it's like, well, whatever was in my box I've collected over over multiple decades, I think. I don't know how long I've had that thing for. Like there's some screws in there from like man, maybe like 2000 probably, actually, from like really old PCs. All right, so I'm gonna install this just temporarily. If I can find the screw. Look at this guy, can't find a hole. No, I think I used the wrong screw. Give me a second here. Oh, I put out all these wrong screws. I hope this isn't too long now. So I'm still, it's funny, like when you're jumping between filaments, like right now, obviously this is, like I mentioned, this is ABS with glass fiber, but the shrinkage rates are like different compared to PETG. And so I guess when I was designing, I didn't intend on actually using this filament when I designed this case. And so when I was designing it, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'll use PETG like I always do, because it's like, it's my go-to. It never fails me. But then you'll see why I chose this particular filament in a bit. It's really just for the color. Like this natural color is just gonna work really well for this particular build I have going on. I think I've already kind of spoiled it, but it's gonna be a sleeper. And you can't have a sleeper build unless it's this funky color, and you'll see why soon. My Patreon members have seen the end, or they've at least seen the CAD that I've been working on that shows what the final is gonna look like. It's quite fun, actually. I think it's fun, but maybe I'm like I'm biased because it's mine. Yeah, so right now it's hard to see on camera, and I can't really like show it, but there is actual shrinkage that's happening in this print, in that like the mounting holes are like narrower than what they were designed for. Because I think the values I'm using are the same as I had for the micro ATX. I don't know how to turn off the AI for this camera, but the values and measurements I'm using here are the same for the micro ATX version, and those holes lined up fine. But for some reason, because of this particular filament, I'm even also noticing that it is like slightly shorter than what I intended, which is not going to be a huge thing, but it's definitely different, which is quite odd. Hold on, I'm trying to think, what do I need to do? Oh yeah, so I'll just spoil it right now. Okay, let's see. Fondine wrote, sorry I had to check on my truck. I'll be listening, but I gotta make this delivery for sure. Alright, so let me show you all what's the no, you know what, let me put on the side panels and then I'll show you what's going on here, because it's the front panel is actually what makes this entire case. And if you can guess what's gonna happen, let me know, or like type it in the chat. But I'm gonna first deal with the warped piece. So again, this corner got lifted because I opened the door too soon. I thought, so in my head I'm like, wait, I need these prints, like, because I started printing around like Wednesday-ish, and so I was like, well, in order for me to make this Friday stream, I need to like start printing now. I need to get these prints off. And so normally what I do is I print and I just leave it in there, and sometimes I open the doors to let it cool off, because normally with these prints that are coming out of this printer, like I just let it cool and it just snaps right out. Like, sometimes I don't even need to bend the parts. But so I was trying to rush the cooling. Like this was like fine, and then when I wanted to cool it faster, I opened the doors and then it just started like warping like crazy. So that was my bad, but what can you do? So what I'll do is I'll put this like bum corner on this corner over here, and we'll just deal with it. I know there's a way to kind of bend it back, but I didn't want to risk it for the stream. So maybe I'll deal with that in another stream or something, but for now we're just gonna have to live with that little bend. Not the end of the world though. Okay, so I know that there's actually a small little bevel on. Okay, I think it's this way. Yeah, you can see it's like, yeah, you can see it on camera right now. I know that if I take a heat gun to it and just kind of like press it, it might help, but let's not risk that right now. Let's just get this thing going, and maybe when I have to take photos of this thing for when I do like my social media stuff or what have you, then I'll install the or sorry, I'll try to deal with that little warp. But for now, we're just gonna have to live with it. Hope you all are okay with that. And I'm using these silver screws instead of the black ones. So I think they'll hide a little bit better. Normally I try to make an effort to not to have screws exposed, but oh well. Yeah, so it's funny, like the eye-to-eye measurement from these mounting holes are definitely more, they're like a tad bit narrower than the rail itself, but I think it actually might go to our favor because, like I was saying, actually you can't really see it, but let's see if this one, no, it doesn't. You can't see it anymore because it's right now. So it's the material is being stretched right now, which is a good thing because, like I was saying, like none of my prints actually came out flat, and that was just, you know, I was expecting it already considering it's ABS. I mean, even that little tiny case here, it's so small, but it's hard to see, but I know it's there. There is actually like some slight warping that happened despite how small this is. And so I think ABS is just kind of like that. And that's why I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I used it again just for the color. But so far, it looks pretty good, right? I think it looks pretty good. Adam wrote, the more the material stretches, the more strength you get from tension. Yeah. It's kind of like a suspension bridge, I guess. All right, so let me see. I don't know how dirty my table is. Probably have like chest hairs and pubes on here or something. But anyways, let me go do the other side, and then I can kind of do like the slight reveal of like this whole entire what? I'm missing some T-nuts. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I need to add 2 more T-nuts here, I guess. I swore I was paying attention. Man. I don't know how you guys put up with this streamer. Okay, so I have to go back and install some T-nuts. I thought I installed 2 per rail, but I guess I only installed 1. That's what I get for like yapping while I do all this, I guess. Just yapping away. All right, so luckily I do have some extra T-nuts here, though. Okay, so I need to just try to get this in here. Try the angle's a little weird, so it takes me a little longer, and I think I need to actually unscrew this corner. And I just lost the T-nut there. And then I can lift this up and then put in the new T-nut, which is right here. Okay. So, there you go. Okay. We now have the proper amount of T-nuts on that other side panel. Can't believe I missed that. I thought I was doing pretty good too. But I was wrong. Adam wrote, the other day I was trying some printed struts, I'm assuming. Oh, sorry, I cannot read. I was trying some printed T-nuts for 2020, and because they are plastic, you can insert them in the middle of an extrusion. Nice, nice. I know that like for the other, like I have some 8020s, and you know, they have those T-nuts that you can kind of just like slip in the middle, and I'm assuming they make some for the 10mm maker beams, but I just haven't really looked. So maybe they exist. And I just haven't really like paid attention. Because that would be nice. Like I did try to take one of these T-nuts to see if they do slip in the middle of the rail, but they don't. And so that kind of does suck. But what can you do? I'm curious. Like maybe the Maker Beam XLs have them. I haven't checked that either, but that would be cool. All right, so I'm having to reinstall this this top panel, but we're good. Okay, so top panel's back in. Honestly, the shrinkage is really helping out because honestly, I mean, if you can't see it on camera, there's like nearly like a 0.5 millimeter like little bulge there, but because the material is being stretched out, it's working to my favor right now. So. I'm not gonna complain anymore. That's pretty fun. And maybe that's something I need to take into account later on. It's just like account for or like make the dimensions a little narrower so that like it's just like basically being tensioned out. So this one here, so I mean from afar it looks great, but it might be hard to see. Oh, you can see it. Yeah, do you see that? There's like a bend to it. I'm sure it's happening there too. This one not as much. This one has this one's really severe. So it's funny, like it's not even like, it's like inconsistent too, which is really interesting. But luckily this this little mishap is working in our favor at the moment. Okay, so installing the side panel now. And it's funny with all this talk about EverQuest. Now I'm really excited to show you the front bezel for this thing. I think people know what's going on already though. So far things are they're going in pretty good though, so I'm pretty happy. Maybe I spoke too soon. This one looks really tight. I've also noticed that like in the summer when I printed out that little case I showed you before, the material contraction was different based on the time of the day, because like obviously like my garage gets to like almost 100 during the day in the summer. And so that definitely affected how the material shrunk and printed. And then during the night when it was cooler, obviously that's also different. And so it is just interesting how much temperatures can play havoc, or I guess good, on these prints. Okay, so we have the top panel, side panels. It already looks pretty sick. I think it looks sick already. Like I like this mesh effect a lot. I know people will like, they don't like it because it's like, oh, you don't have like filtering, or like airflow isn't managed as well. But like, I don't know. I think it works well. Okay, so we've got the top and side panels on. Let me show you the front panel. I'm really excited for this one. But okay, ready? We talked about EverQuest, but check this out. So this is also a warp tube. I think it'll work once it's actually in there. But this is the sleeper build, Maker Beam. Obviously, like, because it is Maker Beam, we can change these panels out all we want. But I really want to like create this like kind of like sleeper old school type. So imagine you have, because again, this PC case can hold ATX. It'll hold like an RTX 5090, and so it would be really fun. Like obviously I don't have a 5090, but the idea that like someone could build this and like create like an old school chassis looking thing, and then you open it up and you see like a 5090 in there, I think that'd be like really fun. But I mean, what do you guys all think? I think it looks fantastic. Obviously I've been looking at this in the CAD for like days now, but yeah, the retro, I think it's working really well. Like I love the like the fake let me zoom in up for y'all. Like, you don't need to see my face here. Like the fake floppy, you know, the little CD-ROM buttons. Like, I don't know, it's like a gateway, right? You know, I was thinking about like, because I do have my wife has a Cricut machine, which is like that little decal maker. And so I was gonna put like an Intel inside, like the old ones. I think that would have been a lot of fun, but I think right now keeping it plain will be like where it's at. But yeah, so this is the front panel that I created for this. Obviously, we can do like anything to this Maker Beam. We could even just make it so it's like one big mesh in the front as well too. The other plan also was to go ahead and mimic this this front bezel, just like in this is the ITX North concept that I shared with y'all. Yeah, I was gonna have it so that it would be basically a bigger version of this little thing. But the beauty, obviously, with the Maker Beam system is that we have the option to do a lot. But for this one, my little cousin actually was talking about, I guess, I think it's Silverstone. They created like a fake like retro case, and my cousin was like going off about this thing, and she's like, I really want that thing. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, you know, I could probably like print something just like it. And so yeah, so this is kind of like that the concept like come alive, and I think it looks really cool. So these are just basically like cutouts for the outlines of the CD-ROM and floppy drive. Thankfully, I didn't need any supports for these. They just print this. There's no supports whatsoever on this. I even printed this out without the fan on. This one also has like some warping. It's hard to see on its own, but if you place it down, like it'll rock back and forth. And when it printed, it was totally fine. But the moment, again, when the print ended and the stuff started cooling, like it just started warping like crazy. But anyway, so there is some processing I need to do for this. Basically, so because this is 325 millimeters tall, it's at the very extent of what my printer can do. And for some reason, I don't know why the software did it, but like it put a let me zoom in again for y'all. It put a purge line like right on the model itself. So what this little line that we're seeing with the black, and it's basically like remnants of an old purge line that I didn't get fully off. So now it's like stuck onto the panel itself. So let me see if I can get it off. Where are my side cutters? So I got some side cutters here, and maybe I'll bring up my X-Acto as well. And then just to be a good example, give me 1 second while I grab some safety goggles. Safety first. All right, so yeah, let me go ahead and zoom in for y'all too. But anyways, I'm like super stoked with how well this has turned out so far, and I hope everyone else is too. Yeah, so right now all I'm doing is I'm gonna take these side cutters and just hopefully I can just snip out that little purge line. It's so weird. I probably could have just like taken this out with my fingernail, but let's be good and use the right tool for the job, I guess. I'm pretty excited about this, and let me show you what else I have to do after this. And I think it really like puts everything together. But yeah, it sucks. There's like a little like there's a purge line here, and I don't know if I can get this one off. I mean, I'll have to like maybe scrape it. That's probably why I put on my my goggles. I know I had to like scrape this. It's sort of coming off. Not really though. Such a bummer. It like kind of ruined it. But it's crazy how strong the adhesion is for the ABS and the PEI sheet. Unfortunately, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But do you see these little specks here? There's like a little black speck right over here. Yeah, you'll see them here, and those are actually parts of the PEI build plate that have like now stuck on to this print because like the adhesion is just crazy. And what I think it is because it is a textured PEI sheet. I think that like imagine this is the texture, and then imagine that the ABS goes inside, and then when it's like, okay, sorry, it goes like this, and maybe when it starts getting cooler, it like contracts and like grabs like the PEI texture. Like it's just like the craziest thing. And maybe I need to use like a smooth PEI plate, but I don't have one. Maybe I can look online to see if like Cheaty has one that's like a smooth PEI plate. Actually, for all I know, maybe my build plate is like reversible. Let's see. Well, I guess it would say it's reversible, right? Like it wouldn't. No, there's no. Well, I guess never mind. Both sides are the same, so we can see how worn out my build plate is now. Maybe it'll actually be worse if it's a smooth plate, but this is like the original texture on it. But obviously, I've been doing a lot of printing, so never mind. Because I have seen some build plates that are like reversible, where one side's textured and the other side is smooth, but that's definitely not the case for this one. All right, so I think I don't want to waste your time with me picking away at this, so let's just go ahead and start processing it. But if you notice here, there are two holes because The original plan was to utilize this button as the actual power button. So right now, if you watch the previous stream, the power button we're using is on the back. Luckily, the PC case is so small that like reach around, is like easy enough to like get it. But like obviously, it would be more fun to be able to use like the actual power button there. But for the sake of time, I didn't develop the button for it. It was supposed to use like those little like standard ATX like power buttons. Like I use this one for a few of my builds if you've watched my channel. And so making like a contraption to make it work is like doable, but I just I didn't make the time to do it because obviously like it was a tight time frame and I also had real work, so I couldn't get to it. But I do have like a dummy button that I have. And so we're just gonna like glue that on like temporarily today just for the photos. But all I'm doing is like applying this this tape stuff over there, and there it goes. Yeah, obviously it's not a real button, but I think the gray and this like cream white, this bone white, works really well to capture that like retro look. But on another note, like it's hard to see on camera, but I just love like carbon fiber and glass fiber filaments. Like it's hard to see, maybe my lighting is too weird, but like it looks like ironing is on here, but it's really not. It's just like it's just printed out so well, and I'm actually really surprised because I was being bad and I didn't tune the printer before I started printing. Oh, sorry, I didn't tune the filament. So normally when I have new filament or I'm changing filament, I like to like tune it, but yeah, but the last time I used this, I was using a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, and this time around I was using my 0.6, and I just used the stock, there's not even a profile for, no, I'm lying, no, I'm sorry, I am lying. There is a profile for ABS glass fiber that's built for this printer, but only for the Cheaty Tech brand filament. Obviously, I'm using a different brand, but 0.6 stock profile, it printed out pretty well. I mean, I think I can't fault it for the warping in terms of the warping that happened in there, because, again, I really do believe it's like partially my fault for designing it the way I did. I mean, again, you're not really supposed to be designing super thin and flat parts in ABS that are flat to the print bed because you're gonna get warping, and that's exactly what happens. So I can't even fault them for that. I think it's a user error, and I'll take it. But wait, hold on. Let me do one more dry fit really quick and make sure I have everything right. And then I have to remove the side panels in order to install the front bezel. Okay, I think we're good there. And let me go ahead and remove these side panels now so that we can install the front bezel and just call it a day. What time is it? 10:58. I thought I'd be faster, but I always say that in every stream. But I do want to thank everyone for sticking around while I yap away and fiddle with screws. But I think the discovery is also fun, and I hope when you as a viewer are seeing this like come to life that it is appreciated, because honestly, I one of the best parts about 3D printing is like, you know, watching things come to life, and I hope that's like shown here, because I'm really happy with this one. I think really, I mean, maybe it's my age, like, you know, when I got into PCs, like, when I got into PCs, like ATX wasn't even around yet. It was just the old AT standard, and so, but seeing these, like seeing something like this does bring back a lot of memories of like my childhood of like playing video games on an old PC. I've never been like a huge console person, even though like my parents did buy us a lot of consoles, but the PC has always captured my heart, and so. We've had a lot of PCs, but the one thing that really stuck out to me was like an old PC we bought from like the supermarket. And it was really fun because that PC at the time I didn't know it had like a really crappy Celeron inside it. But little did I know that the Celeron that was in there was the Celeron 300A. And what's significant about that one is that it was basically like, imagine it would be like a V8 Mustang that got turned into like a V4, but it still had like the same amount of like RPMs or whatever. But basically, like, you can overclock the crap out of it. And it was like so fun to like. And when I found out about it, like the first thing I did was like, I remember like the frontside bus. If you guys know what that is, the frontside bus ran at like 66 megahertz or whatever number, and one of the easy overclocks you could do was just to bump it up to like 83 megahertz, and like right away, like I saw like performance gains in like Unreal Tournament. I mean, you'll laugh at what the performance gains were, but it was just like a lot of fun. Hold on, I need to think about this. What am I doing? I am installing the front. Okay. Let me go ahead and turn it on its back. I do need to get access to these T-nuts. All right. Yeah, so I think when I look at this, honestly, like, it just brings out like the vibe of like, man, I'm gonna go home, play some Unreal Tournament, or like play some World of Warcraft 2 or StarCraft 2, you know, just like, those were the days like when life was just simple, you know, you just kind of like go through the rigors of school and then go home and do whatever and then just hop on the PC and just play. Life was simple. Lit Bulb wrote, my first build was awful. Cut my hands up on sharp steel edges. The CPU was a card style, like the actual interface for the CPU was a card. Yeah, so Lit Bulb, the Celeron 300A was slot 1, which is exactly what you're talking about. Like, it was the same ones for like the Pentium 2, and then later on, I believe they made a few models for the Pentium 3 using the slot 1 as well. So I totally get you. But again, I have maybe rose-colored glasses for my experience with the cartridge style. But then like I was saying, so like when we bought the PC, it was from the supermarket, and so the motherboard that originally came on it was like absolute trash. The only thing I could do with it was increase the front side bus by like 66 to 83, whatever the math is. But basically, it wasn't much, and it was already like the max that it can do. But it did start like I wouldn't be here today without that PC, because from that PC, like, I ended up buying like a motherboard that could not only increase the frontside bus to like 100, but it also allowed it to go to like 133. So imagine like the Celeron started off. Wait, maybe I'm lying. Hold on. It was a 300. No, I think it was 66, because I think at 100 it ran at like 450 megahertz. But yeah, so I ended up buying like this like cool motherboard just to like run it at a faster frontside bus, and then and yeah, I just kind of like, I bought new RAM for it. I remember like the original, I think the original PC from the supermarket did not have like an AGP slot on it, so I think I had to like install like a PCI video card in it. And so yeah, but then when I upgraded to the newer motherboard, I was able to get AGP, and so get a faster video card. And you know, back then it was so awesome to go from like software rendering of like video games, and all of a sudden you get like a hardware accelerated GPU, and it was like heaven on earth. Like the difference was like so, it was so evident. Like, it was like you couldn't ignore it, because nowadays I think we're all used to just having things like smooth. Like, even like our phones run at like 60 frames per second, if not more, and so like we're just so used to having things like so fluid. But back then, like, if you didn't have a good PC, like you were watching like a slideshow, you know, or it just wouldn't work at all. For right now, I'm just lining up the T-nuts. You can see the warping happening here, so maybe I'll actually install that one first so that we can kind of handle that warping. That's a line there. Let's see. Lit Bulb wrote, yep, yeah, you are right. I think it was the same chip. And then Lit Bulb wrote, I believe I was 14 at the time. Yeah, I don't know how old I was, but I know that like I've been really lucky that like even from like a super young age, I've just been around PCs. Like, thankfully, like my grandpa and my dad were like kind of like tech nuts or whatever. I don't know, and yeah, I've just been around this stuff, which is I think paid off. Like I love this stuff. Oh, I'm trying to screw in this T-nut, and I think I had the wrong screw. Oh, you know what? No, I think this is the shrinkage happening right now. So I think the, yeah, I think this is the shrinkage happening. Oh no, how do I deal with this? So one side is on. Let me turn it around. So basically what's happening is the rail system for the Maker Beam is like, it's definite, right? They're like, it's just not going to move because it's all metal. But I think because of the shrinkage that's happened here, the tabs I put in are now more narrow than the actual beams that they go on to. What was that? Anyways, and so now like I'm having a hard time actually getting this nut in. Oh, I lost a nut. Where did it go? Okay, it's right here. Oof, I was worried it went inside the power supply. Okay, let me try a longer nut. I don't think it's gonna work though. It would work. Maybe it's this one. I'm gonna try a flathead here. So I'm just like talking to myself here. So, but again, if it's hard to keep track of what screws I'm using, but if you buy the assorted screw kit that I have linked in the description, you should be good. Fingers crossed. Okay, so let me try this again. I'm gonna try a different screw type. So I was using the tapered flatheads, but let me try this button head. It might have more, whoa, it might have more screws to go in. Let's see. Lit bulb wrote, my board had AGP, I got lucky. I think I had 128 megabytes for that system is actually, that's pretty solid. I think I had like 16 megs. So good on you. That's a pretty baller system for that time. 128 megabytes. That's, yeah. I think I was like tears of joy when I had like 64. So you had 128 to begin with. That's very impressive. Because I think the video cards themselves only had like a meg of like VRAM, if you can call it that. All right, so I hope I can. Wait, did I miss? I think I missed. I missed the hole. It's hard to see what I'm doing here. Sorry about that. But basically, I'm just trying to like find the T-nut and screwing it in. I hope that's like clear. I think I have purchase on it. It feels like I do. I think we're good. Yeah, okay. Sweet, so now we have the front bezel fully on. And let me go ahead and reattach the side panels so that we can just kind of button this up and call it good. Because right now I'm having a hard time deciding how I want to rest it, because before I was able to rest it directly on the beams, but because the top and the front bezel are actually, they protrude more than the case, it's now starting to rest on the actual panels instead of the Maker beams. No, that's not right. Yeah, I need to deal with this little bend here, but that's for another time. I think nobody wants to watch me play around with a heat gun and then swear when I end up melting the entire thing. Because I'm assuming that's what'll happen, is that I'll like try to have it all in there. I'll try to like soften the plastic to get it to bend, and then I'll probably go too far with my impatience and then just melt it, and then you'll just see nothing but swearing from me. Those are the things I don't put on the videos. It's not a good look. Yeah, but so far though, I'm like really pretty stoked on this. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I think that's just the Maker Beam system also just spoiling me, right? Because Normally when I'm designing my other cases without the maker beams, like I have to worry about the structure. But by using the maker beams, like it's just there already. So right now these panels are like so flimsy, but because I know I had the maker beam to kind of like take up all the slack, I don't really have to worry about it, which is really nice. A part of me just wants to take a heat gun to this corner and just kind of like press it, but I don't think it's worth the risk right now. Unless you guys want to see a fail, because it'll likely very well be a fail if I do it. But no, maybe I shouldn't now. I think the morning has been going well so far. Oh, I did screw up something. No, hold on. I'll correct it in a little bit. I'll show you something else that I forgot I wanted to show today. Let's see, I'm gonna line that up. Nice. All right, so, and these have like a little bevel in them so that you can know like where they need to, or like which part of the case you need to use. But this one is really hard to print though, but I'm hoping in my next stream I'll have a solution for how hard this thing is hard to print. It won't be the best solution, but it'll be a solution, and I hope that it'll be seen as such. But we'll have to wait for next week for that one, I think. We'll see. It may be longer. Okay, so I'm putting on this side panel, but I'm going to be turning it around again to take off the other side panel, and I'll show you why in a little bit. I should have done it while everything was taken apart, but you'll see soon. And maybe before I do that, we can kind of just like sit here and appreciate how well this has turned out so far. Look at that. Let me get these things out of the way so that we can get a better view of this thing. I'm really stoked on it. Like it's looking better than it did on my CAD. Like obviously in my CAD, like I just look at all the lines and stuff, but in real life, like I hope that on your screen it captures just like the color and how it really like captures like the retro look. Like I think like you could probably see this like PC case at like what's that place called, the secondhand store, like Goodwill. I don't know what you guys have in your countries, but in the US we have Goodwill. Yeah, so if you imagine like, you know, you see this PC, you're like thinking like that thing probably doesn't even have AGP. It probably has like ISA ports on it, and then you look behind here and it's like, whoa, I see ATX. So I think this is like captured the retro look in all its glory, I think. I'm really happy with it. I don't know, it's so weird to see me like toot my own horn. I do apologize, but I'm really stoked on how good it looks. I think it's pretty convincing. I'm really happy about this, and I hope you all can appreciate it too. Okay, but enough of that. Let me show you something else. Let me go ahead and flip it to its side so that we can remove the side panel and gain access to what we need. Man, this is really bothering me. Should I just risk it? It only needs to come down like a good, like maybe 2 mils, but man, I know I'm gonna screw that up. So I won't even entertain like the I won't even entertain it. No, I won't, because I think it'll ruin my Friday morning. It's not even noon yet, and I don't wanna have a bad day yet. I already lost a screw, so that was already an L that I took today. Wait a minute. No way, I just found it. That's awesome. Sweet. Okay, sweet. Never mind. The morning has been awesome again. Maybe we do risk the bigger L. No, we won't do that though. Okay, anyway, so basically one of the I did show this on some of my socials. I think I posted on Reddit. Obviously, I posted it on YouTube. And there is concern about the cooling capacity of this particular case because, I mean, my intention actually, so the PC I'm streaming off right now, sorry, the PC that I'm streaming with right now is like 16 core, 32 thread. It's got like 64 gigs of RAM. And even now it has a 240mm AIO on it, and I don't think it's working its very best. And so obviously like a low profile cooler that's like in here, that's hard to see. Yeah, so the low profile cooler that's in there right now ain't gonna cut it. The 120 millimeter cooler could suffice, but obviously I think going back to like an actual 240 would be best. And so I did want to show you that you do have the option to run a 240 millimeter AIO. It really depends on how you set up your system though, because obviously this is full ATX, so we have all the expansion slots available except for the last one. I think I mentioned that in the last stream, but there is a slot here that will take some finagling to actually make work, but whatever. Despite that though, so right now I have I've got a 2-slot video card, I've got a USB PCI Express expansion card on there, and so you know you can utilize it. And basically, again, depending on how you set up your system and what you have installed, it'll determine like if you can do this next part. So this part is obviously optional, but I'm just showing you that you can install a 240 millimeter radiator in here so that you can increase the cooling capacity of the system. Because I mean, I think it's a valid concern that people had when they saw the case and they're like, wait, I have to like put in like a little tiny cooler or 120 millimeter AIO, and I think it's valid to like have that concern because I don't think anyone really uses that combo. But just showing you that because of the MakerBeam system and how simple you can make cases with it, you do have the option to run obviously a larger cooler in here, just how I'm showing right now. And this also opens, and obviously the radiator that I am putting on is not an AIO, but I think you know you can probably use your imagination and understand that a bare radiator and an AIO are kind of the same thing. But yeah, so basically imagine you now have your sleeper system that can hopefully adequately be cooled by a 240 millimeter AIO, and I hope that like covers it. But obviously, like when you install your system, again, like in my previous stream, I did say you should use custom cables in here, but it is also very possible to use normal cables in there too. Like if you watch my micro ATX build, I also suggest putting custom cables in there, but on live stream I did show that you can fit all the cables in there, and this actually has more room than that one, so I'm not concerned about that. But yeah, so again, like here we have basically like a full-length GPU, 240 millimeter radiator in there, even this like supplemental like 120 millimeter just to show as an example, and we have our sleeper build. So let me go ahead and close it back up again. I know you're probably getting sick of me like taking apart and putting together this case, but I don't know, it's kind of fun, and I think it's also, I hope it like I hope it becomes a solution for a lot of people. But I guess I say that, but I'm not taking into account the actual printing and purchasing of these like MakerBeams and obviously the printer. But for the printing side though, again, like if you tune in, I think maybe next week I might have a solution to show you all. Yeah, and so I think I missed some chat here. So Adam wrote, one method I've been using is to print a jig to help with alignment and to use CA glue to bond the panel segments together. Yeah, I think that'll definitely work. I know that like I have seen some inserts you can put to kind of like stabilize the T-nuts in these builds. I just haven't gone around to it because I mean, like you see me build this now, but like next week it'll be taken apart. Like I think if I had like one case, I would do it maybe, but because I know that this is like super temporary. I'm just not taking the time. But yeah, definitely like having some sort of like insert in there to help stabilize the T-nuts would be helpful. But I think that's it today. So Captain Merc wrote, best thing with sleeper builds is unlikely to be taken in a robbery. Just needs a bit of yellowing. Yeah, maybe a little yellowing. I don't know if ABS will yellow. Does anyone know if ABS? I know that I think I've proven that PETG does not yellow. But ABS, this one actually might yellow because technically this is not white. This is like natural, so it might not have any additives in there to prevent the yellowing. And so maybe I should try leaving it out in the sun and then have it yellow. But who knows? And the lit bulb, yeah, so true. But I mean, I think in a robbery, maybe you're right. Yeah, I think if you had this out, like they probably wouldn't take it. They probably feel sorry for you. Maybe they would like stop robbing you midway. They'd be like, "Oh my god, look at this guy's PC!" Like, and we're robbing from them. But that wouldn't work though, because I think like I'd probably still have my like 34-inch ultra wide. Maybe they'll take that. Who knows? But yeah, this is I think we can call this done unless you guys have any questions. But this is the sleeper build for the MakerBeam. The SUG-FreeBeam-ATX. This is the first version of the ATX. Obviously, like I mean, I printed these out like in I think less than a day, maybe a day and a half, because I just had to like do stuff in between. But printing this out was pretty easy. Sort of. Actually, no, I take that back. ABS sucks. Maybe if you print these out, use like a PETG with carbon fiber or fiberglass or glass fiber. But otherwise, though, this has been a lot of fun to make, and it's also even more fun to have it come to life because I've been looking at this in my CAD program for a few days or for maybe I think a week now. And obviously it was fun like looking at it and turning it around, but seeing it in real life in the light, like fully built, I think it's a pretty convincing sleeper build. I should actually just go ahead. Maybe next week I'll have the power button working because that's a lot of fun. And I think now that I'm looking at it too, before I upload the files, I'll likely put in some holes for LEDs so that you can kind of have all those LEDs blinking away. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm also debating, do I even want to put a hole up here for another LED? Because you know how the old CD-ROMs they had LEDs on there too. So I think it's a lot of fun. I know that when you turn it around, you know, like the illusion is gone. Especially if you had like an RTX 55090 in here. But I think from the front though, when people come into your home and they like see your gaming setup and they were to see this, I think it'd be hilarious because in actuality, because it is all mesh, and if you do go with like a 240mm AIO on the top, like your cooling is going to be pretty darn good. I mean, you could argue that if you were to use the AIO and then have your video card underneath that, like you could be dumping hot air from your CPU, but I think it still should be okay unless you have like an Intel like a 12 gen or 13 gen or 14 gen. Maybe that'll be a huge issue. Just don't buy Intel, I guess. If you're gonna go with this, just go AMD for now. AMD's the king at the moment. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is turned out really well. I think the use of the silver screws hasn't ruined it too much. I was really worried about that, but so far though, like this has been it's turned out better than I anticipated. Pretty happy with it. Actually, maybe before we leave, I do have RGB fan. I want to see how it looks like with RGB, like bleeding light through the case. So let me go ahead and do that. So obviously the parts I have in here are not like functional, so we're not going to turn them on. But I do have the ability to turn the fans on without turning on the PC. Let's go ahead and do that actually. We're already over time. Yeah, we'll just do it. I think it'll be fun. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab my spare power supply. Now, what else do I need? I need a power cord, which should be down here. I do have that. And then I need at least the 24 pin attached to it, which is right here. Look at this custom cable though. Beautiful. Look at that. So tiny. So useful. Lit bulb wrote, I can't wait to build it. Lit bulb, but what size printer do you have? Like I think that'll be like the biggest thing that people are gonna be like, oh, I love it. But yeah, I think, you know, a part of me wants to go ahead and try to make a segmented version, but it just won't probably look as nice as it is right now though. Pop McFly wrote WYD. That's sorry, I'm old. That's like what you doing, right? WYD is what you doing. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's what you're doing. Anyways, but what am I doing right now? If that is the question you're asking, is we just created a sleeper build. And you missed out. You're gonna have to rewind. You're gonna have to rewatch the stream because inside here we have like a full ATX motherboard, full size GPU. It even has enough room to put in a whatchamacallit, an RTX 5090. It's got water cooling and all underneath 20 liters still. So yeah, it is what you do. Yeah, so basically 20 liter sleeper case that can house pretty high-end components. And so whatever you can get away to cool a CPU that can be cooled with a 240mm radiator can be used in here. The power supply, you can kind of see through it a little bit. The power supply in here is a pretty short one, but because there's so much room, you can go for a full 200mm power supply. So I think next week I'll show when I finally migrate the stream PC that I have right now into here. So the stream PC I have right now is like a full-size ATX motherboard. Funny enough, it's got an Intel Arc A770, but it's still pretty long card for what it is. It does have a 1000 watt like platinum EVGA power supply that's like 200 millimeters long. And so all of that's going to go inside here, and I think that'll be really cool because right now the case that's in there is like this like humongous like Corsair. That's like, so I have a TV behind the camera that I'm using right now, and the PC case is like almost as big as the TV. So I think it'll be really fun to kind of I don't know if I'm going to use this case like in its like current state for the build because I may need access to it more. Like I like having to be able to like gain access to my stuff more, so it's not like a permanent build. But the chassis itself will more than likely like work for what I need. Sorry, let me go ahead. I've been yapping away here. I'm trying to get these RGB lights on. Not the biggest fan of RGB, but I think it always works well for the photos. I think people come to expect it, so we'll just do it. Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead. So right now I'm just gonna install like enough to have it turn on. Let me see. So right now I have like a jumper attachment to it, and yeah, let's see how this goes. So I'm gonna head. This is like a. It's funny. I bought these fans and I didn't realize that the connectors were like really not conventional. I bought them used. They were like fresh from someone's PC or something, and I didn't even bother to check the connectors. But I ended up, thankfully, I found like this like China up here. I don't know if you ever heard of that brand, Up Here. And thankfully they connected with the fans that are in here, because otherwise it would have been like just a bunch of useless fans, or I would have had to like repin them myself. And luckily I found something else that works for that. So let me go ahead and jump this so that we can see the fans turning. Hopefully I don't have it like there's no cables obstructing them. I always hate that whenever I have like a cable stuck in the fans. You just like hear it, like, you know, you're like possibly damaging the blades. All right, let's see. Hopefully this is off. Okay. So I turned it on. Okay. Oh, it's hard for you to see from your angle there, but it looks freaking funny. So obviously there's only some angles you can see the LEDs. But this is really funny. Oh, it's too bad you can't see it from here. I thought you could. Okay, I guess if you tilt this, it really depends on what angle you're looking at it from. But there is definitely some RGB action to be had. Look at that thing. This is so funny. This is hilarious because I think I did go through a phase where like my PC I had like it was water cooled. I had clear tubes and I had like UV reactive coolant in them, and so yeah, I had a PC where when you looked at it, it was like glowing green. But you know, back then, like back when these beige cases were around, this was not a thing. So I think this is hilarious. I'm so here. Let me turn off the lights so they can get a better look at how funny this is. In my opinion, maybe this is a situation where RGB does work because like it's just so ridiculous. Look at how ridiculous this is. This is so funny. I don't know. I maybe I'm just tooting my own horn, but I'm really like digging just how well this thing has come together. It's so, it cracks me up. I'm such a nerd for like being so amused by this, I think, but I think it's hilarious. This cracks me up. This is so good. I can't get over it. But actually, maybe I will just give this to my cousin. Well, I'll ask her to see how she feels about it. She's pretty picky. For all I know, she'd be like, "That's stupid and ugly. I want the Silverstone." I'd be like, "Okay." But otherwise, though, I am really stoked on this. I know I've probably said that 1,000 times in this stream already, but I can't get over how like well this came together. Okay, with that though, I mean, it is Friday noon. Well, my time is Friday noon. I don't know what time it is for y'all, but basically, I'm gonna probably have to go to lunch and maybe check my work emails, and then yeah, maybe start my weekend already. Maybe I'll like drink or like do a little this and that. Start the weekend off strong. I mean, it is only noon, so you know normally we do this stream at 3 o'clock, and so we've got the whole day ahead of us still. So, but the day has started off strong. We've got this like super cool case that's turned out way better than I expected it to, and it really does. I mean, I said it too many times today, but just looking at it just makes me smile because I just can't help but think about like. Yeah, when you know when you were younger and like things just didn't matter. Like the only thing that really mattered was like stupid little like relationship things and then gaming and playing sports and stuff. But like this is awesome. I'm really happy with this. I think the color works so well though. So I do have the filament linked in the description, and hopefully it's still there. But it works so well. Maybe I need to find out if there's any other like natural colored filaments like this, because I do have ABS and it's clear though. So I don't know, like I almost feel like this is ABS naturally like this bone color or is it clear? Because yeah, I don't know. But either way though, it sucks that your camera angle is so high, but this is hilarious. Like seeing the fans up here is hilarious. For the just looking at this is so funny. Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do justice for the photos and stuff because of the grill pattern. It doesn't really like allow the light to always come out the right way, and so it's gonna be interesting to see if I can capture how that's gonna be. Sorry, I missed some in the chat here. So. Lit Bulb wrote, I have a Bamboo Mini, oh no, but I can segment it or try the fabric cam lock idea. Yeah, if you do, when I post these files up on Printables, like please like post some photos if you do finish it. I've had some users finish their builds and post their photos up, and then some of them are really cool because like for instance, I had this one case that I printed out in this like weird blue color. I wasn't in love with it, but I thought I'd try it out. and then some people posted their builds in like matte black and stuff, and it just looks so much better than what I presented. So yeah, I would love to see what you come up with on printables if you can. Let's see. And McFly wrote, okay, I like, yeah. And then Pop McFly also wrote, what GPU, if any? Oh, you mean like what GPU is inside here? So like I said, theoretically, it should fit an RTX 5090 in here. The 4090 might be a little... No, the 4090 should technically also work in here too. It would definitely get in the way of the AIO idea. I think, especially, it would definitely like... It also depends on where your PCI 16 slot is too, because I know that like for this particular motherboard, it has the PCI Express slot, I believe, in the same. Oh no, it doesn't. So yeah, so it's actually moved up one slot, and so I've seen some motherboards where they make so much room for like heat sinks for the chipset or like the NVMe drives that they push the GPU like 2 slots up or down, and so that might interfere. So it really depends, but theoretically this should fit a RTX 5090. So if that's what you're asking, I know that the 50X, the RTX 5090 is not the biggest card, but I just wanted to capture like the king at least, and so I think even the FE 5090 is quote unquote king. I'm sure like there's like there's partner boards that are better by like a few megahertz, but I think the standard is the FE cards, and so it should technically fit in there. Yeetus Industrious. I don't know why that was so hard to say. So Yeetus Industrious wrote, I love your builds and design. Oh, thanks a lot. I really do appreciate that. I have a lot of fun sharing like my hobby here, and I'm really just happy that people like yourselves can also appreciate it. So again, like, thank you for joining the stream today. So I think, you being here is like, it's the world to me. So I want to thank you for everyone that's been here today. And then Litbulb wrote, I think that's called retrofuturism. It really is though, right? It's like this like, almost like brutalist design, and then all of a sudden like you have like the capabilities of now, I think, I would love, I would even take like a dead RTX 4090 or 5090 just to like show as models. Kind of like I think the components in here are actually dead besides the power supply. So, yeah, maybe I should just like ask around like stores nearby to be like, hey, do you have any dead 5090s I can like just have a shell of? But we'll figure that out eventually. Litbulb also wrote, Bamboo PLA Basic White is a natural white color. Like, oh, cool. I think for the front panel, that would work. But I think the side panels, the top panel and the panel for the motherboard, you might be able to get away with using PLA and not have it like melt or droop on you. But I think this is the only panel that you would be able to get away with using PLA because, right, I think the power supply would be the only danger, like emitting a little heat. But the top and the motherboard side, I don't know if I'd suggest PLA for that because, you do have like really hot NVMe slots sometimes in the back that might heat it up too much. I wouldn't recommend it, but good to know that the Bamboo does have natural. Now I should just go on Amazon to find out who else makes natural. Like, if there's a PETG glass fiber in natural, that might be like my go-to. I recently bought PETG gray, light gray, and PETG white in glass fiber, so I'll need to try those out in my next builds, but if it came in natural, this would be so much fun. Because even, again, like I keep bringing this case up, but remember this is the ITX North, and it just looks cool. Like it's a very like earthy tone, and it kind of takes away that like kind of like that dead cold like technology white. So I think having this like cream, it just brings another element of like think it's natural thanks to your desktop. But anyways, I've been rambling. Gosh, I'm really happy with the way this turned out, and really happy that all y'all tuned in today to see it come to life. And I'll be posting the files up tonight, likely. After building it, I do want to make some modifications to it. For instance, well, I think I might just nudge the tabs out just a little bit, but maybe I shouldn't. Because again, I think the values and tolerances I was using worked for the PETG micro ATX version of this, and so maybe I just keep it that way. I think it really is like I need to tune this particular filament because I haven't, because again, I changed the nozzle size, and I didn't tune it. So I know that the part of the tuning process is finding out how much it shrinks and whatnot, and so I have not done that, and so I definitely need to address that. So maybe I do just keep the model as is for now. I'm trying to think what else I should change. But I guess maybe I'll put it up the way it is now, and then I'll put the updates later on, because I do want to make this button actually work. It's easy enough. Well, easy, but it's doable. If you see my other PC cases, I've used this button before and had it work. So I think we should be good. Cool. Okay, so again, thank you so much for joining today. If you liked the video, please leave it a like. And I really appreciate all the comments you guys have been leaving already. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because again, I'm trying to share as many cases as I can, and I hope that people enjoy it that way. And then at the same time too, if you do want to donate to the channel, I do have a Patreon, and you can donate. I think I have some certain values in there, so go ahead and check that out. And one of the upsides is that my Patreon members have seen the CAD for this before the stream came up, and so you do get sneak peeks. And once in a while, I'll even put polls up to decide what next case is to be designed. There's also opportunities for people to even just suggest what the next case could be. So the Patreon is there. I guess I could put more action in there, but I guess the main thing is you do get sneak peeks, but mainly you really are just supporting the channel to keep it alive, because filament ain't cheap. I mean, we talked about how expensive filament is, and so definitely check it out. But otherwise, though, if you don't check it out, I don't care, because I think you just being here and watching and chatting away in the comments is really more than enough. So I do want to thank everyone again for joining today, and yeah, I'll try to see you guys very soon again. I guess one question before I leave, how does this time frame work for everyone? I know that when I used to do it at 3 p.m. PST, most of Europe was getting ready for bed, or already too drunk to stay awake. And so I thought maybe this 10 a.m. PST might work out a little better for some. So maybe I'll keep doing it at this time frame, because it does. I have looked at my metrics, and I do have a lot of European viewers, and so hopefully that works out. I just feel bad for the people who are in the U.S. or in the West Coast with me, and if they're having to hide their screen while they're watching this at work. But I don't know. I think everyone watches something on the side while they're working, but who knows? I could be wrong. But anyway, so I'm rambling again. Thank you so much for joining. And let me go through my little process of stopping the stream before I say my final goodbye. And that's it. So again, thank you for joining, and I'll see you